Hey there, if you want to learn how your ISA can do the most valuable call in real estate, the live transfer, check out this video. We're going to go deep on the scripting, on the objections, on the tips and tricks. Let's jump into it. Let's start with what is a live transfer. This is mostly applicable to internet leads. When your ISA is calling those internet leads, asking them questions, building rapport, building that relationship, they're going to qualify them and they have to come to a choice. Are they going to try and set up an appointment with them, an in-person or phone appointment, or can they go for the live transfer? The live transfer is when they call up their agent and do a three-way call where all of them connect and they hand off and start the conversation right then and there. Instead of waiting for an appointment to happen, the agent gets to talk to the motivated buyer and seller immediately. That is why a live transfer can be really interesting. It can really bump up your conversion rate and you should give it a try. Why should you be interested in live transfers? Because if you've done any kind of follow-up, an appointment setting with any kind of internet leads, whether it's Facebook leads, Google leads, Realtor.com, Zillow, etc., you know that just setting an appointment with someone from the internet is no guarantee that they're actually going to show up. The attended appointment rate can be 50% for a lot of these internet leads. Only half of them are even going to show up to a phone or an in-person appointment. For some lead sources, it's less than that. For some of them, it'd be a little bit more, but across the board, 50% held or attended appointment rate is very typical. That's why it's always the most valuable thing you can do when you're talking directly with a motivated buyer or seller. That is why live transfers can be a huge advantage. You're talking to the person right then and there, not going to wait for an appointment. You're not going to bet on whether they're going to attend. You can do things to bump up your appointments attended, right? You can remind them, send them text messages, call them, message them, try to remind them and make sure they're going to confirm that appointment. But if you want to avoid all of that work, shooting for the live transfer first and foremost is one of the best things you can get your ISA to do. The biggest thing that we've learned here at Power ISA on working with live transfers and ISAs is that you have to be 100% intentional with making sure that live transfers are always the first option that an ISA is going to do. The reason for this is because it's always easier and safer to schedule an appointment for later. It can be tomorrow or next week or a few days from now. The further out you book an appointment for a lead, the less likely they are to actually remember or attend. They might get busy. They might talk to somebody else. It's never good to set an appointment too far out, but it is safer and easier for the ISA to do that. So your scripting and your instructions and your incentive structure for your ISA needs to be geared for them to set live transfers first and foremost. They are much more valuable than setting appointments in the future. It's hypothetical. The person might attend or they may not for a bunch of different reasons that are all valuable and fair. That's why it's always better to talk to the motivated buyer or seller today. Your ISA needs to understand that. The scripting needs to take them to the live transfer. Their bonus structure needs to favor live transfers. And I'll be talking more about incentives and bonus structures here on the channel. But today, I'm going to focus on the immediate steps you can take to make sure your ISA sets more and more live transfers. Here at Power ISA, we had a big project. This is back in May 2020. In the span of 30 days, for our entire team of 100 plus ISAs, we went from setting almost zero live transfers to setting about 50% of our converted leads were converted to live transfer. That went from almost zero to hundreds of live transfers being set all the time for us. So I know with a lot of authority that this can be taught. It's a simple structure and a framework that you need to follow to make sure that that live transfer happens and is successful. The basic script and framework to get to the live transfer is when you're talking to the lead, You're qualifying them and they meet a certain criteria. That's really important. You don't want your ISA trying to do live transfers with anyone willing to accept them. You have to have a defined criteria for what kind of buyer or what kind of seller you're willing to talk to right away. If they're claiming they're a year or two out, their price point is too low, any criteria you set aren't met, then that ISA should not be attempting the live transfer. But if the buyer or seller meet your criteria, they should not go for a follow-up call or book an appointment. They should try to live transfer that lead right then and there. One of the scripts that I like to use for live transfers is to make sure that it is the next obvious step for the lead. If they want their question answered, if they want to get access to some off-market properties, if they want to talk about financing options, whatever the hook of that script is, whatever the hook is, the next obvious step to get that need met, to get the problem solved, has to be the live transfer. And it could be as simple as this. Hey there, Mr. Lead. Yes, I'm going to get that question answered. Let me get my agent on the line. He's going to jump in and answer any question that you've got. Give me 1 minute. Let me get him on here. And you transition right into it, right? Don't make it a big deal. Don't make it a big issue. You can also say, hey, I'd love to set that up with my agent. He can give you all of that information. He happens to be in the office right now. Let me get him on the line. It'll be 30 seconds. He'll be right on. Give me 1 second. And you go off and you set it up, right? You want to make it a natural transition. It's the next obvious step. You're more likely to get the person to follow you and keep going and connect with the agent. It's important to avoid one of the biggest caveats and pitfalls of live transfers. You shouldn't be asking for permission. Is it okay if I transfer you over to my agent? Are you all right with me making a call and getting them on the line? You don't need to do that, folks. You should transition it directly into the live transfer. If they can't do it for whatever reason, then that's okay. You can book that appointment, but you should be going hard on the live transfer as your first option. Do not ask for permission. It's not going to be helpful. Transition directly, and they're more likely to follow you directly to the next step, which is the live transfer with that agent. Also, another tip to make this all more likely to succeed is you have to be fast. You gotta be quick. The ISA has to know the steps to do the live transfer like clockwork. It has to happen quickly because that lead is not gonna wait forever for that live transfer to happen. One of the most frustrating things that can happen to an ISA is they've got a lead on the line, they're qualified, they're good to go, and they take too long setting up the live transfer, the agent doesn't pick up, and the lead gets frustrated and hangs up the phone. Terrible outcome for the ISA, terrible outcome for the agent. You gotta be quick. They have to know, put the call on hold, dial the agent, get them on the line. That transition needs to be very fast. You've got to tell the agent, hey, Mr. Agent, I've got a lead here on the line. They meet your criteria. I'm going to put them on. And connect the three-way call immediately. You have to have this rehearsed. Has to run like clockwork. You get them in, and then the ISA describes what the buyer or seller is looking for. When you've got them on the line, you don't want to wait until you describe the buyer to the agent before connecting them. That can take too long and cause a person to get off the line. You need to do that description quickly. Hey there, Mr. Agent. I want to introduce you to Bob, the real estate lead. He's looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condominium in downtown, the area of the city. And I'm going to leave you guys to it. He had some questions about available inventory for off-market properties or financing options or a VIP buyer program. I've got him on the line. He's going to take care of you. He is the expert in this area. I'll get off the line. Boom. And then you go to it. That is how you get an agent and an ISA connected. You get the agent and the lead on there, and you're good to go. It has to be quick, and it has to be on point. Rehearse it, test it out. Make sure your ISA is ready to go. Another major pitfall, the bane of my existence when I was running this project and bumping up our live transfers, is the attempted live transfer that wouldn't work. Very frustrating for all the parties involved. The lead was on the line, the ISA was dialing the agent, and the agent wouldn't pick up. It can be very frustrating. There's some easy ways to avoid that issue. Number one, make sure the agent has the phone number of the ISA saved, and they understand when that phone is ringing and it's the ISA calling, that it is money on the line. They've got a hot, motivated buyer or seller waiting to talk to them right away. The more likely they are to pick up, the more likely the success is going to happen, and you're going to connect that lead with the agent. Another hack and tip and trick that we found is that when the ISA is having a great conversation with the lead, things are looking good, they're looking like a qualified lead, they can go ahead and send a text message to the agent telling him, hey, I've got a live one here, live transfer incoming, be ready, right? That gives the real estate agent a couple of minutes to get ready, get up from a meeting, go to a corner, pick up the phone, and be ready when that live transfer comes through to make it a completed live transfer so they get that connection started without any delay. As you can see, live transfers are really valuable, really important when you're converting internet leads with your ISA. So I hope this video has been really valuable for you. If you're puzzled, you're not sure how to teach your ISA to do live transfers, or you need an ISA that's going to do more live transfer of hot leads over to you from your internet leads, please let us know. Click on the link below. We've got a special offer for you if you want to try out getting an appointment setting ISA, a live transfer focused ISA on your team right away. Thanks, folks. If you found this video valuable, please crush that subscribe button. Hit us, give us a like, and tell everyone we release a new video with great information every single week.